Hi everyone, welcome to Creative Chelsea. Today I want to show you how to take the June 2019 A Little Smile paper pumpkin and turn them into regular size 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 note cards. Alright, so I've gathered all the supplies we need to make this card. I'm just going to walk you through them really quickly. You can find the supplies in the description below. So we do need 2 ink pads. We've got Coastal Cabana, and you could use your ink spot that came in your kit, and Crumb Cake. We're going to use the starfish and the sentiment stamp, Just a Little Smile, and then the cardstock we need. So what's not in your kit would be a card base. This card base is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. And then you'll need a piece of Crumb Cake Cardstock, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then you'll need these pieces from your kit and a paper trimmer. So the first thing we're going to do is trim off the front of this card. And we can trim it at 2 1/4, and then you can just throw this away or save it for another project. The next thing we're going to do is open up our envelope. Our goal is just not to rip the front, because this is the part we're using. So I'm going to take my paper snips and just cut right along that edge, removing the old olive part from the birch pattern. And then I'm going to take my paper trimmer and remove the sides. I've found that my paper trimmer doesn't cut paper that's been folded very well. So it will cut all these other pieces, but not the folded piece. So that's why I used my scissors. Okay, so we've got the birch pattern. And these other pieces you can just throw away. All right, now it's time to stamp. So using the Coastal Cabana, we're going to stamp our sentiment. And then on our crumb cake, we're going to do the starfish. So in our original card, the starfishes move from the left corner to the right corner, just in a diagonal. Right. I think that's all we're going to see, so that's all I'm going to stamp. So in the lid of my ink pad, I have put some drops of ink from my re-inker, and with an Aqua Painter, I'm going to pick up some of that color, get it kind of wet, move my things so they don't get splattered, and then using the lid, I'm just going to rub the brush over the lid, and that will splatter. Pick up some more color, splatter onto my starfish. And you can do it all over your card or just in that diagonal shape. And then to clean the Aqua Painter, you just squeeze, because you've got water in the bladder, squeeze and wipe it on a scrap piece of paper. And then I just clean my lid with a tissue. Okay, so all of our stamping is done. And now it's time to assemble. I'm just going to move that off to the side. So grab your white base and fold it along the score line. I like to use Snail to adhere my cardstock. So we're just gonna put that down. And then our birch paper is going to go at an angle. And then let's do the elements for this before we adhere it. So in my original card, I put the green on top and the blue on bottom, and I'm just going to switch it just to see how it looks. I'm going to run some Snail in the middle and place my cool coral circle pattern, and then use a glue dot or two and add this seaweed palm looking leaf thing just across, and add some glue dots. And if you have any hangover, just fold it so that it doesn't hang over the edge. I'm just going to place that down here. And then we're going to pop up the saying with some dimensionals. That's going to cover the adhesive that's in the middle. And then you can apply your ribbon with a glue dot or some Tombow. Off to the side. Okay, and then we're going to add this to the front of our card with some dimensionals. And you can do this at an angle or straight on, however you'd like. And I'm actually going to take this off, if I can, carefully. Just take off the saying. Because I put this at an angle, and I want the saying to be straight in comparison. So hopefully that is straight. And we've got a full-size card that has been made from the small note cards from the Paper Pumpkin kit. Okay, for our second card, we're going to make this thank you card. And the supplies we need are the Coastal Cabana, the thank you sentiment stamp, our card base, which is the same, 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. So this is Soft Sky Cardstock, and it is currently retired, but you could use any light blue cardstock, and this is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then our pieces from the kit. So again, we're going to open this up. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is stamp. So we'll start with the sentiment, and that goes on a word strip. With our Coastal Cabana. we are going to do this white watercolor wash in the back. So to do that, you're going to need your Aqua Painter again, and open up your ink pad and place some drops from your re-inker in the lid. Get it kind of wet by squeezing the bladder. And you're just going to start at the top, squeeze, and then just add color. You can only go over it one time because this isn't watercolor paper. You can't go back and forth. So once you've laid down that water, you kind of have to leave it or it gets really wrinkly. We don't want that. So then, oh, I cleaned that, but we shouldn't have cleaned it because we're going to put the splatters on it once it's dry. So you can either wait for this to dry or use a heat tool and dry it, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so grab your Aqua Painter, pick up some more of that color, move your thing so you don't get, move your thing so you don't get splattered, and then just splatter your paper all over. Okay, then clean it by squeezing the water out. Got a lot of color in there. It takes a lot of water. And then clean your lid. Keep bumping my phone stand. I'm sorry. Okay. So let's assemble the front of our card. So grab the pieces. You want a piece of coral and a piece of seaweed and a sand dollar. I almost forgot what that was for a minute. Kind of position things where you want them, and then we can add them. So this time I'm going to use some Tombow. I'm just going to put a little bit down and just adhere it where I want it. So that one goes there, if it goes. Stay. Goes on top, and then I'm going to use a little bit of Tombow on the back for my sand dollar. Just goes here at the bottom, cover everything up, and then this gets applied with some dimensionals. Fingers are sticky. Just off to the side. And then I've got my bow already tied. And that can go, I'm just gonna put it right there between everything. Great. Okay, so this is dry. So let's put it on our card base. And center that on your card base. Then the birch paper. Gets centered as well. And then this gets popped up with some dimensionals. and that goes up a little bit higher than center. Okay, so card number 2. And this card front here is exactly like the paper pumpkin kit. And so we've just, you can see it right here. I've just taken it and then added it to a fun card front. Okay, so for card number 3, we have changed the front. The front is this card here. And it was a little boring for me. You really couldn't see the coral in the back. So I wanted to change it. We've added some extra pieces of cardstock and some color to the coral. So I'll show you how to do that. So the first thing are the extra pieces. Again, we've got our card base, which is 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And then we've got a new in color. It's Pretty Peacock, and it is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then we are pulling in that Soft Sky again, that's retired, and it is 1/2 inch by 4 inches. And you can just find any light blue color would be beautiful with this. We've got our envelope and our card front, which we're going to go ahead and cut. Oh, you know what? I'm so funny. This isn't being used here. I just remembered that there was one card I didn't use this on. So you can save this for your other card. Okay, so let's do the stamping. So on our Pretty Peacock, we're just going to use the Coastal Cabana because we just want this really subtle, I don't know if you can see it, there's a very subtle background stamp that just is on this lower half. It's not even lower half, it's like a lower fourth of the card. I'll show you how I did that. So I just started. Okay, maybe it's easier if I do it this way, then you can see. So we're going, the card base is going horizontal and the stamp is going vertical, so we can get some height. And we're just going to take that design and repeat it all the way down. And it just kind of gives us a watermark look. And next thing we're going to stamp is the sentiment on our banner. And that also is done in Coastal Cabana. And it says, "You are amazing." Great. And the last thing is our coral. So you're going to take your coral and a sponge, get some ink, and then just dab that ink on. You can do it really heavy, get a lot of color, or you can go light. The first one I did really light, and this one I wanted a little darker. Okay, so you can see how that puts some color on it, and it will help so you can see it better on the background. Okay, so we can assemble this card. Just center it on the card base. Place down a little note card, and then the Soft Sky strip. That looks crooked to me. Let's try pulling that up. There. Okay, then our Soft Sky strip, and that just gets centered above the wave of sand. And then we're going to add our palm tree. You can use glue dots, they're just not very fast for videos, so I'm going to use this liquid glue. And that goes in the center, or not the center, off to the left. Then we're going to do the sand dollar. I love how glittery these guys are, they're really fun. I love this kit, but I did want larger cards. And that gets placed right there. And then our colored coral, how pretty that is, adding that color to it. Put that down here. Okay, we've got 8 inches of the twine, and on the back of the saying I'm going to run some snail, and then we're going to just loop it around, creating kind of a messy nest kind of look. You can either have that sticking out or tuck it in. And that's going to go right here. We'll put some dimensionals on it, help it stand out. I like to cover the twine with the dimensional so it doesn't come undone. And then just hide that coral base a little bit. And we're all done. That was super fast. I really like this one. I love the dark, pretty peacock color in the background that really helps this element pop from the card. For our last card, we're going to make this cute card. And we've got the card front very similar to the way the Paper Pumpkin kit has it done. And we've got it on the background with some sand dollars. So let's go ahead and make that. So we have the card base, which again is 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Then we need Crumb Cake Cardstock at 4 inches by 5.5. And then the card front and the little accent pieces. So let's, oh, and then this piece, which came from card number 3, where we cut it out but didn't need to use it. So let's go ahead and cut off the card front. And then let's do our stamping. So let's start with the sand dollar. We're gonna stamp that. And it's just kind of randomly stamped. I've got 5 of them in Crumb Cake ink. Okay. And then we'll put the do the saying. And that is in the Coastal Cabana. And the saying is, "My day is better because of you." Okay, so all our stamping is done. And now we can assemble. I love how quickly these cards have come together. And I hope you enjoy them and are able to make them as well. So this birch paper is tilted to the right. And then let's put the elements on this one. And I am going to use the Tombow glue because, like I said, it just is faster than doing glue dots. But glue dots would be fine, or Snail in some of the larger areas. accent pieces. We've got a starfish, a piece of coral, and then let's add our saying. Actually, no. Let's add this to our card front. And this is just tilted a little bit to the left. So not quite straight, but not at a crazy angle. And then add the saying with some dimensionals. You can put that wherever you'd like. Just gonna right there. And then add the ribbon, the bow of twine, and we're done. Super fast and really cute. I love that card. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like, and share. For more information about Paper Pumpkin and to start getting your monthly kit, click on the subscribe link below. Have a creative day. Bye.